When you get ready to do your final African animal silhouette project, you first will need to choose a picture reference. These are photocopies from some of our books with animals in them. You will notice that some of them are quite simple with easy step-to-step designs. Some of them are a little bit more complicated, and some of them are very complicated. A lot more lifelike, but much more difficult. Please choose a level where you are comfortable creating your artwork. Maybe a little bit of a challenge, but it isn't overwhelming. There are different levels because everyone has had a different amount of experience in practicing drawing. So if you do a lot of drawing, you may want to choose a more tricky one, a more complicated image base. If you have only practiced drawing maybe during art class, then you might want to choose a more simple drawing, and you can still have a really amazing creation even with a simpler drawing. So you'll start with choosing your drawing and then drawing it on your paper. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to pick a spot where I want that drawing to be. So I'm going to choose kind of right in the middle because that's where I would like to do it. So I'm just going to follow the steps here. Oval, skip some space, bigger oval. I'm noticing that this oval is not in front of that oval. It's in fact that way just a little bit. Okay. And then the next step, it says do a circle in front of your first oval. And then draw the tail off the back end. Then I need to draw the neck. And these are going to be silhouettes, which means we're not going to see any of these circles and stuff on the inside. The only thing that matters is that outer edge. So as long as I change and edit the outer edge so that it looks like my animal, that is the only thing anyone else will ever see. Like steps like this where it shows how to do the eye or those inner details, I can skip those because I'm not doing that. But I do need that tail floof and these parts of the lower legs here. So I'm going to do that. And then it has me repeat them for the front legs. And look, oops, there's also kind of a hoof back here. I don't have to worry about any of the spots because we're not going to see that, but I do need to have this sort of mane or fur along the back of the neck and sort of the second little horn over here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now I have to decide, am I going to add another animal? Am I going to add like a plant or something? I could do something like that. I want to make sure though that my animal is not floating. So I did a pretty good job of making sure my animal was close to the ground. But sometimes we draw animals and they're floating up in the middle. You want to make sure you add some ground at the bottom of your picture that your animal is standing on. Now, it could be standing on a cliff, it could be standing on a big hill, that's fine. We just want to make sure that they're not floating in space because it looks really funny when your animal is sort of floating out in the world or floating in the sky instead of on the ground or in the water or wherever they're supposed to be as an animal. So make sure that's nice and clear. And then you want to add at least one more thing to your picture. I'm going to choose to add a tree. So I'm going to get a tree book and look at that. I found this book with a baobab tree in it, so I'm going to give that one a try. It's one I haven't really seen before. I think it's kind of cool. It reminds me of the movie Fern Gully, if you've ever seen that. I don't know if that kind of tree is in Africa, but I'm going to add it. Branches that sort of branch off, and it's got like little leaf clusters there. Again, this is all going to be colored in black, so I think that's probably pretty okay. And yeah, I've got a lot of open space, but that's okay. Now at least it looks like my giraffe is hanging out with this tree. So it doesn't feel quite so lonesome on the page. So now I'm going to do my background. Our White House that we did, we're going to be using chalk pastel to create an ombre in the sky. But a little bit different. We're going to be using these held chalk pastels to create this ombre. And the main difference is that you can pick these ones up and directly rub them on your paper. You do want to be careful though, if there's a lot of like schmaltz or whatever on the chalk when you start, funky other colors, that will show up. So you can always on the back clear off the chalk by rubbing it quickly. See there? Now it's nice and clean and it's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and do that and then work through my colors to create a sunrise or sunset directly on the paper. So just lightly rubbing back and forth all the way to the edges. I'm going to put that one down, pick the next one, clear that off quick. And then same thing. Notice that I am going directly through my drawing. I am not going around it. I'm not skipping it. I'm just going straight through. That's totally fine. Because I'm going to be coloring this black, so that doesn't make any difference to that at all. And all the way down until wherever you meet the ground. And if your ground is at the bottom like me, you're going to go all the way to the bottom. If your ground is a lot higher, you're going to end up being, you might stop here if that's where your ground is. That's fine. So I've now coated my artwork in chalk pastel, but it is not done yet because it still has quite a bit of texture here. It doesn't look fully complete. That is where this cotton ball comes in. You always start at your lightest color, work your way darker, and be careful about fingerprints. I'm noticing where I was holding it so it wouldn't move on me, I caused some fingerprints. I'm going to go all the way back and forth across the top of the paper, blend into that next color, and just move down as I go. Now that I'm done, I'm just going to give that a little shake. That looks excellent. This cotton ball is pretty much all used up. Maybe someone else doing the same colors could use it, or I can just toss it. All right, now that I've finished my ombre, I'm going to go ahead and do my black marker, which is going to create that sense of silhouette. So you want to first start with your edges and just be really careful going around your edges and creating your edge shapes. Because remember, the edges are really the only thing that ends up showing. Once you've got your animal edges all filled in, you go in and just drag and drop from edge to edge to fill in all the black. This helps ensure that your entire animal is colored in black, but we're not getting a lot of scribbly marks either. So you can see now my tree and giraffe are done. But if there was, if you wanted to go in and double up the black in some places, you can kind of create shadows within your shadows by making it truer or darker or even more solid black, which can be kind of fun. If you want to just have it be all solid black, that's also fine. So there we have it. This is ready to be glued in the space of your border, and it is ready to be done and photographed.